Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Vaishnavi and today I'm in conversation with Dr. Tavpritesh Sethi. He is the Associate Professor at IIIT Delhi. So how are you feeling today, sir?
Wonderful. We have had two very exciting sessions in the morning, and yesterday's sessions were amazing. So delighted to be here, and thank you for this conversation.
Okay, so how do you resonate with the entire theme of health this time, that is clinical validation? How do you relate with it?
Very closely. My background is in clinical medicine, and then I shifted into technology and data for the last 15 years or so. And at the heart of what we do as researchers, we always have at the back of our mind that will it actually positively impact any clinical outcomes for patients, for doctors who can use these, right? So to us, it is actually something that we take it as granted that anything we develop has to be validated to the point where it shows a positive impact, improving the lives of patients and doctors' decision making and also health systems in general.
So we have been talking about One Health. So can you brief us in short that what is One Health basically?
So there's an emerging understanding that I think everybody now knows that there are more climate-related events that are happening. The weather is changing. We have more heat events, heat wave events. We have winters that are not as cold, but then we suddenly have some spells of high rainfall, and all that is actually impacting health. So essentially, health can no longer be seen in isolation. It has a lot of interconnectedness with systems, not just climate, but also the systems, for example, animal health, right? So it is not only about human health, it is about animal health, about the health of our ecosystems, about the health of our environment, and at a very broadly overarching level, the way we are approaching development or sustainable development as a whole. So One Health is something where we basically are realizing more and more now that it is like whack-a-mole game. We try to plug something and another thing pops up. And unless we have a system view to the health, right? So more and more health challenges like COVID are bound to happen.
So when we talk about One Health, suppose we speak at conferences and we hear from workshops or we have a lot of information on the internet. But do you think that there is still some gap which is not being filled up among the urban and the rural part of the country where we need to work on, and so that this message, that this awareness that we have is known to everybody, so that everybody gets that awareness basically?
There's a huge gap. I think, as you said, the gap is in awareness. Even for things like Sustainable Development Goals, which SDG 3 is a good health for all. So I think, but the interconnectedness of SDGs tells us that we need to look at all these things together. But even SDGs are still, after so many years of being talked about, they're still mostly a checkbox to tick. Uh, we have not seen conversations come into the corridors of organizations about how do we achieve SDGs, other than basically only talking about as a policy paper or something that we need to really show that we are working on that, right? One Health is even a bigger, I would say, black box as of now.
Exactly.
We don't have conversations about it as much as they need to happen. Even as a university, we don't have, for example, curricula that are developed in universities, not just this, but all universities towards One Health. We don't have curricula that bring together systems level understanding and thinking about public health. Although we have things like systems biology, we have things like systems medicine. So the first level gap is actually in the level of awareness that experts need to bring to the table and then take these conversations to the youth of India. Because the change will not come from the top down only, it will come from these everyday conversations of happening at home and in classrooms and in startups that we build and in the research that we do, right? So that is a huge gap, and of course, then when we start seeing that kind of drive, of course, there's funding available in India. There's also a lot of interest available in funders, for example, to support climate change and health projects. But it has to be I would say subliminal thinking rather than something that we need to check.
Okay. So having said of about the SDG goal that we are focusing on, we have platforms like ABDM today. So how do you see it? Like, are we going in the right direction with it, or are we lacking somewhere? Are there young minds who are ready to contribute to it? So what is your idea about it? Like, go.
I think it's an amazing development and a very much needed development for India. It is absolutely connected to sustainable development goals, especially making health available to all. Right, so affordable healthcare available to all is a very important thing, and ABDM's mission to create these longitudinal health records through the Aadhaar ID, and also a minimum level of coverage available to all for health is a very important step towards that direction. It will not only mitigate a lot of, I would say, siloed approach to health as we have it now, right? The fractured healthcare systems that we have. So imagine if a person has their linked health records over 10 years, right? And they don't need to carry their health record from one organization to another in the form of paper, but these are digitally and electronically available. And then, of course, there can be algorithms which can, for example, do data mining and artificial intelligence-based recommendations. They can be a huge support to enhance lives of both healthcare provider organizations, but most importantly to the patient, right? But also players like insurance that a lot of fraud can be mitigated. So overall, it is a wonderful step in the right direction towards achieving SDG and others as well.
So having said that, I mean, it will bridge a gap between the enablers that are the insurers and the providers and everybody and the
It's all linked.
users.
It's all linked because you can even think from this standpoint of sustainable livelihoods, right?
Yes,
which is
exactly,
another sustainable development goal. So if a daily wage worker is losing livelihood because of their travel to a far off place, right? So it's not unlinked from health, which is SDG. So it's all in the right direction.
So I think InnoHealth moreover focuses about innovation, and it definitely attracts a lot of young entrepreneurs sitting there. So is there any particular advice that you would like to give the entrepreneurs, or some ideas that you would like to give from your end that they could think of as a future or that they would work on?
So InnoHealth is a wonderful platform. I've been working with Sachin and InnoHealth team for a few years now. I think it's an amazing platform to bring together innovations and also all sections of society, including hospitals, including nurses, academics like me, myself, and so I think it's a wonderful platform. I think going forward, we need to make it an ongoing background activity that not only happens once a year, but for example, through projects, every organization has their own unique capabilities. Hospitals have a lot of expertise and a lot of patience. Academic institutes like ours and technology institutes like ours have a lot of, I would say, research development, a lot of brain put into developments and also incubation centers and innovation hubs. Innovators are sometimes looking for the right channels, right, and the right set of people to work with, and the right skill of people to work with. So the need of the hour going forward, I think, is to really not have this as a once a year event, but also basically make this as a background, I would say, baseline level of activity that goes on. And on top of it, we are able to showcase some amazing developments year on year towards this direction. And of course, AI, data, technology, ethics, socially relevant research are key areas that we really need to focus on.
So that was great talking to you, sir. I mean, it's a privilege speaking to you, and I think we are enlightened, and we look forward to see more young people coming into the industry, and yes, making this as our backgrounds and working on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.